Steve. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm fine. How you doing?
Good. Well, I'm glad you came today. We're going to go ahead and start and do the same thing we did last week with the mood check.
Okay.
So on a scale of 0 being the least and 10 being the most, how would you say your week's gone?
About 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about today? How have you been feeling today?
About an 8,
8.
9.
So pretty high this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and just go over the agenda and what we'll be talking about today. So I would like to go ahead and we'll get an update of what happened this past week and kind of see how you've been doing. And we're going to go over, I see that you did bring your exercise, so
Yes,
that's great. We will review that and talk a little bit about those thoughts that you wrote down. And then we'll go ahead and kind of prioritize what the main thing we want to focus on today. That way, if we don't have enough time for everything, we'll be able to prioritize. And then towards the end, we'll work on another exercise to help you with throughout the week. And then we'll summarize everything, and I'll, of course, ask for feedback. That sound good?
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about how's your week been?
Well, when I left here last week, the beginning of the week was all right. I was trying to talk to some friends and reach out to some friends. And on Tuesday, I actually made plans to meet up with one of my buddies.
That's great.
And we were going to do something, but the day before we were supposed to meet, which is on Friday because we were supposed to go on Saturday, he just up and kind of canceled. Really didn't give me a reason why, but he just says like something suddenly came up and he couldn't be able to do it. And of course, I started feeling bad because of what we talked about last time about how nobody wanted to hang out with me, nobody wanted to be around me, and I started having those thoughts of nothing's going to change. This is gonna be like the new normal or whatever. So I was pretty crappy. I didn't really get out and do much.
Right.
You know, um, but I thought by talking to everybody acted like they wanted to be around me. But then, nothing happened. So I think it just, I feel the same as I did when I left, pretty much.
All right. Well, it sounds like at the beginning of the week when you reached out to your friend and y'all made plans, it sounds like you really had your hopes up. But then when he called and canceled on you, it sounds like kind of got you down after that. You said he didn't really give a reason, so you're not really sure why he canceled on you. And you use the phrase, you feel like it's the new normal. So it sounds like you're really kind of feeling kind of hopeless and back to the way you were feeling the week before, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, out of those things, what would be something that you really want us to focus on today? Would it be those feelings about you feeling like your friends don't want to hang out with you, or?
Yeah, I'm just tired of feeling hopeless and like nobody cares.
Okay. All right. Well, we will go ahead and we'll focus on that today. Now, you said that when your friend canceled on you, you felt really down and didn't really do anything the rest of the week. What did you do?
I just sat down and watched some, TV, just reruns of Sports Center, replays of Sports Center, and just kind of listen to some music, just didn't stay at home and didn't leave the house.
Okay. Well, I'm looking here at this homework that you gave me, and I see where you did write down some of your automatic thoughts from like when your friend called and some of the other things that happened this week. So it looks like some of the thoughts that you were thinking was nobody cares, and I see where you wrote like, what did I do? Did I do something? And you feel like just this is the new normal. So when you thought those thoughts, is that when you ended up just watching TV?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Had you ever noticed that you think thoughts like that?
What do you mean?
Like paying attention to the thoughts that you had after your friend called and canceled. Had you noticed that you think thoughts that the thoughts here, they're kind of really hopeless sounding?
I just don't really pay attention to the thought. I just kind of go by how I feel.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Well, that's really what this exercise is for. A big part of cognitive behavioral therapy is getting us to pay attention to those thoughts. Because sometimes we can have thoughts that are really good and really helpful, and then other times we can have thoughts that can actually really end up kind of hurting us and making us feel hopeless. And as we talked about last week, some of those thoughts can influence the way that we feel, and the feelings of depression and feeling hopeless, and then choosing to like watch TV all day or lay in the bed all day. Can you see how that might kind of affect that, starting from our thoughts? Yeah. So what sometimes a cognitive distortion would be, which I'm seeing here on your homework, a lot of these would be what's called catastrophizing thoughts. And that's when you kind of think of like the worst case scenario, like this is how it's going to be, this is like the worst, and you're not really thinking of like anything positive that could happen. So I'd like to go ahead and ask you where you put that you feel like nobody cares. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, how much do you really believe that?
I mean, given all that's happened, I'll say 8 or 9.
Okay. So at 8 or a 9, so you're really feeling like since you had your accident, you feel like nobody's really caring much about you.
Yeah, because nothing's really happened that, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Is there any evidence that supports, like anything you might be able to think of from the past where you can think maybe of a particular friend that you feel like they do care about you?
Not lately. I mean, I just feel like everybody's kept their distance, so.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like your feelings, like people are really treating you differently now that you've had the accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, what we really want to look at is starting to challenge those thoughts and see if maybe there is any other reason, or when we think those thoughts. Like for instance, I know you said when your friend called, he didn't give you a reason, and I guess that kind of left you kind of hanging and wondering, well, why did he cancel on me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So maybe, finding other evidence that shows, like, why, did he have something going on, or finding out, maybe he does care, or he was busy, or things like that. Do you think maybe thinking those types of thoughts might help with your feeling depressed?
I don't know. I think if he was busier, I mean, wouldn't he give a reason?
Yeah, I could see why you would think that. Would you be able to, depending on how close you are to him, would you feel comfortable with asking him?
I don't know, because I don't want to sound like I'm being pushy.
I gotcha.
You know.
Right. Well, that was a good step you made this past week. You showed a lot of initiative there, being the one to call him up and schedule that to hang out. So that is good, even though I know it really didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. That was a really good step to try to hang out with somebody. So that's good. So what we're going to be doing is really focusing on those thoughts and those feelings. A lot of the thoughts that we have are really based on what's called a core belief. And those are things that we may have thought it from the time we were a little kid, and we may not even realize that we're thinking it, but they can really lead to us feeling like helpless or worthless or hopeless and things like that. Which yours, the ones like no one cares and did I do something, and you said it's not this is the new normal. That seems, I'd say, really some hopeless feelings there. So okay, so what we can what we can do, if you feel comfortable with it, do you feel like the automatic thought record that it did help a little bit this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to write thoughts down, but
Yeah.
I wish there were better thoughts.
Right. And that's what this next exercise is going to help us with. Last week, it was really to get you to just pay attention to those thoughts that we may not even realize that we're thinking, that really do end up affecting our mood and, choosing to lay in the bed. So what we can add to it this next week, let's continue that thought record. And then I'm going to give you it's a cognitive distortion sheet. And that's where we can really look at when you have those thoughts, those automatic thoughts, you can look at how can I modify this thought, and look like, is there evidence to back it up that this thought I just had, maybe it's not true, and things like that, to maybe find a way for maybe to make it a little bit more positive.
Okay.
You think you'd be able to do that this week?
Yes,
Okay.
I can do that.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and give you, this is the cognitive distortion sheet,
Okay.
and we're going to continue that automatic thought record there too. So do you have any questions about any of that with the maybe changing and modifying thoughts?
No.
Okay.
I want to apologize to you, though.
What is it?
Well, just for having bad thoughts, but also for my seeing our dog barking.
Oh.
I don't know why she was barking. So.
You're okay. It's good that she's here. So, all right. So, well, Steve, we are about to wrap up the session. So instead of me providing the summary of everything this week, I kind of like to get that from you. Would you be able to summarize what you feel like we talked about today and what helped?
We talked about the thoughts I had last week and what happened, about my friend canceling, how it made me feel. We talked about, thoughts that are worst case scenario, catastrophizing thoughts, and maybe trying to focus on, finding if there any evidence that back those or not. Maybe have that might be another reason that I don't know about, and so I want to think about those. We talked about my automatic thought that I wrote down, and we're going to keep doing that, which those help.
Good.
And keep making steps, and like you said, try not to stay hidden in the bed or something.
Yeah, okay. Well, since this is the end of the session, I'd like to go ahead and do another mood check. How do you feel on that scale again? How do you feel like you're feeling now?
About a 5.
About a 5? Okay. So maybe a little bit more hope and feeling a little bit better than when we started.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just work on that exercise this week, and we'll see how that goes, and we'll go over that at the beginning of next week's session.
Okay.
Now, is there any feedback you have for me that you'd like me to do differently next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And is this same time good for you next week?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll see you then, Steve.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.